Hello, this is Susan, and I will be reading Yesterday's Island, today's Nantucket. This is for the week of June 26th to July 2nd. First article, It's a Love-Hate Relationship. As June settles into true summer, the flora of Nantucket really comes alive. The beach roses scent the air along the dunes, our yellow thistles open for pollinators, and the golden heathers carpet the moors. This past week, while enjoying the early summer splendor, another blossom caught my eye. Small clusters of whitish green, each flower only a quarter inch in size. The delicate five-petal flowers aren't showy or brightly colored, but they are pleasant, gently draping in small clusters. These flowers, however, aren't the kind to put in an arrangement or bouquet. These deadly beauties actually belong to the poison ivy plant. Poison ivy, Toxicodendron radicans, is a native woody plant prevalent across Nantucket Island. The old adage, leaves of three, let it be, is a good thing to remember for identifying the plant. While other innocuous native plants have clusters of three leaves, it may be best to avoid all leaves of three if you're not sure. Unlike some plants in the blackberry family with three leaves, poison ivy does not have thorns and generally has smooth leaf edges, though sometimes it's a variable toothed. That basically means it does what it wants when it wants. As the name implies, it is toxic or poisonous to the touch for many of the public. 85% of people report they are allergic to poison ivy, but they are actually allergic to urushiol, the rash-causing oil produced by the plant. I am personally jealous of the other 15%. I am so allergic to it that I have learned to pay special attention to its habits, the various morphs it exhibits, habitat niches it likes to occupy, and its overall seasonality. One winter, when I thought I was free of it, I failed to wear gloves while digging up some invasive plants. I learned my lesson that evil never sleeps. Little did I know that the poison ivy roots lurked in the soil, too, and I ended up with very swollen fingers. Apparently, all parts of the poison ivy plant can produce urushiol. Poison ivy is a plant I love to hate and hate to love. Instead of continually cursing the plant for my allergy, I am working on my poison ivy appreciation, for this native plant is an important part of our native flora. I marvel at its ability to morph into many plant forms. As a woody vine, it climbs and encircles trees, as can be seen along the edges of the Nantucket State Forest. It can appear herbaceous, growing among the low bush blueberries and wildflowers at the edge of paths. Each stem seems to know how tall to grow to mimic the surrounding plants. It can be shrubby in nature, growing in and among the bayberries and huckleberries and growing no more than hip height. Making sure to cover all of its bases, I have even seen poison ivy looking like a tree, though this has been exclusively in marshes. While I hate to admit it, there are more reasons to admire this shapeshifter. In addition to being a master of disguise, poison ivy may be the superplant of the future. Researchers have found that poison ivy responds extremely well to elevated CO2 levels as predicted with future climate changes. You think that would be the case for all plants with more CO2. However, poison ivy has been shown to be more adept at reacting quickly to excess CO2, growing 149% faster than poison ivy grown without elevated CO2. These elevated carbon dioxide levels are creating bigger, stronger poison ivy plants that produce more urushiol. The urushiol isn't just more plentiful, it was also more potent. Great. There has been some research, though limited, on the phenology or timing of poison ivy leaf out and flowering in our region. Poison ivy may be leafing out earlier, meaning that the poison ivy is around longer in the year, so there's more opportunity for exposure. Poison ivy fruits are plentiful in late summer and early fall. Birds love the poison ivy berry, which is high in lipids, providing much needed fat calories for fall migration. These berries are also an important food source for other wildlife like white-tailed deer. Deer will even graze on the twigs and leaves. Lucky for them that deer, birds, and other Nantucket fauna, including dogs, are not allergic to the urushiol oil. There's a picture here of a flowering poison ivy. And if all of this wasn't enough, poison ivy can be really useful for restoration projects and can be considered a nature-based tool for erosion control. It is considered an early successional plant, meaning it often grows in disturbed areas and can help stabilize soil and provide cover for other plants to establish. It thrives in disturbed landscapes, places where not many things will grow. You can see it near beaches, which are constantly getting beaten by coastal storms. You'll see it along roadsides or abandoned lots, which are disturbed by other forces. In a few of our restoration spots at the Linda Loring Nature Foundation, poison ivy was the first native plant to colonize a disturbed site after removing non-native invasive species. Removing my own bias, this plant is considered a success given the other ecosystem services it provides. It's hard for me not to admire a plant like poison ivy, even if we have a love-hate relationship. It can seemingly shift to blend in with its surroundings in a way that other plants cannot. It has the ability to colonize disturbed areas and be a pioneer species, stabilizing soil and revegetating barren areas. And it is one of the few plants that can capitalize on the mess we've made with climate change. Poison ivy can grow earlier, bigger, taller, and stronger in light of carbon dioxide and increased temperatures. So if we're mad about it, it's our own fault. We've created a monster. Save the date. Fair Winds in Bloom, supporting behavioral health together. June 30th, that's this Monday, 2025, at Nantucket Shipwreck and Life-Saving Museum. Join us for a night of saving lives with Fair Winds. An evening dedicated to saving lives in a different way will be held this Monday, June 30th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Nantucket Shipwreck and Life-Saving Museum. Set in a gorgeous location by Folgers Marsh, 2025 Fair Winds in Bloom, supporting behavioral health. Together will feature a warm and welcoming cocktail reception with hors d'oeuvres, beverages, live music by Billy Voss, and a wellness-focused silent auction to raise essential funds for behavioral health on Nantucket. Guests will hear remarks from leaders at Nantucket Police, Nantucket Fire Department, and Nantucket Cottage Hospital on the importance of accessible behavioral health care on our island. Guests will listen to a moving mission moment from Kayleen de Lima Diaz, Fairwinds board member and English language teacher, on the impact Fairwinds has on island youth. More than a dozen enticing items are being auctioned, including a wellness packages, a week's stay in Telluride, a round of golf for 4 at Sankati Golf Club, and more. A link to bid online can be found at fairwindscenter.org/events. So event supporters not on island can participate in the silent auction. Final bids must be in by 7 p.m. on Monday, June 30th. Each bid helps Fairwinds continue its life-saving mission of providing essential mental health and substance use services to those in need. Every contribution makes a difference in building a healthier, more resilient Nantucket. Tickets to attend this evening event are still available at the Fairwinds in Bloom link on fairwindscenter.org/events. Parking at the Nantucket Shipwreck and Life-Saving Museum is limited and reserved, so guests of this event are asked to park at Don Allen Auto, 24 Palpas Road, and a free shuttle will run continuously between Don Allen and the museum throughout the event. Fairwinds, Nantucket Behavioral Health Center, provides confidential, quality professional care to adults and youth on Nantucket who seek mental health and addiction services. All are welcome regardless of their ability to pay. Fairwinds serves over 30,000 mental health and substance use counseling appointments annually. launched January 3rd, 2023 in collaboration with Nantucket Cottage Hospital, Nantucket Police and Fire Department, Town of Nantucket, the schools and other community partners. Fairwinds established a crisis response and crisis stabilization system that offers immediate care 24/7, 365 days, anywhere on the island. Behind the Scenes Quilt Project and Events. As part of the Nantucket Historical Association's 2025 feature exhibition, Behind the Seams Clothing and Textiles on Nantucket, they have invited Nantucket community members to contribute a panel to a conceptual quilt. A celebratory display of the works of art will be revealed at the NHA's Community Day planned for August. There is a long-standing history of community quilt making that our exhibition touches on and that we have examples of in our collection, explained Niles Parker, NHA Gosnell Executive Director. So we are excited to spearhead the creation of a piece of work that can be in this same spirit and showcase the story of the Nantucket community today. Details on how to participate in the Community Quilt Project can be found on nha.org/community-quilt-project. But don't delay, panels are due by July 1st. Behind the Seams, Clothing and Textiles on Nantucket is on display in the Nantucket Whaling Museum on Broad Street with more than 150 objects from the NHA's costume and textile collection that tells stories of making, meaning, and island identity from across Nantucket history. So many aspects of island history can be explored through textiles and clothing, said Michael Harrison, NHA Chief Curator and Obed Macy Research Chair. The NHA is excited to present visitors with a rare look at some of the most intriguing objects in our collection, the clothing and textiles that people created and used on Nantucket in the past. On view through November 2nd, Behind the Seams features clothing, accessories, household textiles, and tools for sewing and textile production from the NHA's 2,000-piece costume and textile collections. Rarely seen objects assembled from more than 2 centuries of clothing and textiles on Nantucket demonstrate the skill and artistry of island makers and reveal the stories that clothing and textiles can tell. Exhibition themes explore textile production and trade, from raw materials to finished garments, as well as the relationships, communities, identities, and values revealed by textile objects created and used by Nantucketers. Clothing brands that reflect the summer resort and products from the island's robust craft revival movement extend the themes of making and meaning into the 20th century. Behind the Seams highlight the persistence of sustainable practices, demonstrating how islanders have cared for and valued clothing and textiles. Together, the themes of making, meaning, and sustainability reflect Nantucket's history as a seaport, its shift from a whaling economy to a summer resort, and the legacy of the island's talented textile practitioners. The NHA is offering an exciting slate of gallery activities and public programs, special events, and workshops to support the exhibition. This Wednesday, July 2nd, artist and activist Diana Waymore will give a free talk at Greater Light, 8 Howard Street, on interwoven stories. On July 7, the NHA Decorative Arts Program will offer a workshop in shibori, a Japanese dyeing technique with indigo. Every Monday afternoon in July, a Decorative Arts needlepoint sampler class will be held. In the Discovery Center, hands-on family programming includes a family tactile talk Monday through Thursday at 10:15, followed by a craft participants make and take home. For details and registration in these and the many other special programs offered by the Nantucket Historical Association, visit the What's On section at nha.org. Additional community quilt panel contributions and displays will continue into the fall at NHA programs and events and conclude with an exhibition finale celebration in October that will include an auction of the community quilt panels. To plan your visit and learn more about the museum hours, visit nha.org. The curtain goes up July 3rd on the debut season of ACK Theater Company, Nantucket Performing Arts Center's new professional theater company in residence, with What the Constitution Means to Me by Heidi Schreck. Nantucket Performing Arts Center, NPAC, is Nantucket's newest destination for the arts. The nonprofit acquired the theater building at 5 North Water Street earlier this year and is transforming it into a year-round hub for performance, artistic collaboration, and community gatherings. NPAC is preparing to raise the curtain on a new era for the performing arts on Nantucket, said Executive Director Drew Kowalkowski, who brings 15 years of experience in Broadway and nonprofit leadership and who serves as producer for the theater company. ACK Theater Company builds on Nantucket's reputation as a summer home for great theater by creating productions that entertain, inspire, and reflect the power of live performance. ACK Theater Company is the perfect way to launch this next chapter, serving our community with exceptional theater and collaboration across the island's vibrant art scene, said Kowalkowski. Playwright Heidi Schreck's boundary-breaking play, What the Constitution Means to Me, breathes new life into the U.S. Constitution and imagines how it will shape the next generation of Americans. As a teenager, Schreck paid for college by winning constitutional debate competitions across the country. In this powerful and deeply personal piece, she steps into the role of her 15-year-old self to re-examine the founding document, not as an abstract ideal, but as something that has shaped and sometimes failed women in her family across 4 generations. Blending memoir, history, and civic dialogue, the play invites audiences to consider how the Constitution affects our lives. Originally performed by Schreck herself, the play was a Pulitzer Prize finalist and ran for over 200 performances on Broadway. In NPAC's production, acclaimed actor Nina Hellman takes on the role of Heidi, bringing emotional depth and personal resonance to the piece. Hellman's stage credits include Greater Clements at Lincoln Center Theater and an Obie Award winner performance in Trouble in Paradise, as well as screen roles in The Blacklist, Nurse Jackie, and Wet Hot American Summer. Hellman is joined by her husband, Tony-nominated actor Jeremy Shamos, seen in Broadway's Clybourne Park and Noises Off, and television's Better Call Saul, The Gilded Age, and Only Murders in the Building. Hellman and Shamos have a home in Sconset and have performed on Nantucket together in White Heron Theater Company's Outside Mullinger and Private Lives. A third cast member, a local teenager, will play the role of the debater, selected from recent youth auditions. This is a really important play for our generation, and I'm excited to bring it to my community on Nantucket, said Hellman. NantucketPerformingArts.org membership in NPAC conveys special perks, including free food and beverages at performances, early access to tickets, and premium seating and invitations to member-only events. NPAC also plans to produce and present a wide range of events spanning the breadth of the performing arts and partnering with other Nantucket arts organizations, like this week's Nantucket Film Festival and the Stand Up and Learn Kids Comedy Showcase on July 11th. Next week, Nantucket Performing Arts Center will present A Night for Swifties, a new concert event celebrating the music of Taylor Swift, with 5 performances only on July 9, 10, and 11. The concert production features a company of Broadway vocalists and musicians, joined by special guest performance from the Nantucket community. The concert is conceived, arranged, and directed by Drew Whitkey, a New York-based music director, pianist, and producer whose wide range credits include work with Tony Award winner Andre DeShields, Broadway stars Kelly O'Hara and Titus Burgess, and Pulitzer Prize winning composer Michael R. Jackson. Woodkey served as music director for MCC Theater's celebrated Miscast Gala for several seasons and has worked extensively in theater, cabaret, and television. A Night for Swifties was originally produced for Westport Country Playhouse, where it quickly sold out to enthusiastic Swifties of all ages. A Night for Swifties will feature reimagined arrangements of songs from across Swift's nearly two-decade career, including selections from albums such as Fearless, 1989, Reputation, Lover, Folklore, and Midnights. The concert aims to reflect the diversity and emotional depth of Swift's songwriting, performed by a cast drawn from both stage and screen. We're excited to bring something joyful and contemporary to NPAC this summer, said NPAC Executive Director Drew Kowalkowski. Taylor Swift's music has had a profound cultural impact, and this concert allows us to explore that through the lens of live performance and open our space to a wider variety of performances beyond the plays we have slated for our inaugural summer. Tickets are selling fast at nantucketperformingarts.org or by calling NPAC at 508 680 0003. On August 1st, Theater People, or The Angel Next Door, by Paul Slade Smith, opens, directed by Nantucket favorite Mark Shanahan. Set in a glamorous Newport mansion in 1948, this fast-paced screwball comedy blends romantic chaos and backstage antics with classic flair. Featuring a weekend of misadventures among two scheming playwrights, a pair of unruly actors, a novice novelist, and a no-nonsense housekeeper, Theater People is a love letter to the glorious madness of the stage. They sure don't make them like Theater People anymore, said Shanahan. It's fast, funny, and full of heart. Just what summer on Nantucket calls for. Water, water everywhere. But last week, Nantucket was placed under Level 1 drought by the Massachusetts Drought Management Task Force, prompting mandatory restrictions on outdoor water use. Then, over last weekend, we learned that the town's primary water pump suffered a mechanical failure, leaving the island's water storage tank at critically low levels. The ensuing water use ban has included all non-essential water use and applies only to properties connected to the municipal water system. As an island surrounded by water, we don't often think about our limited freshwater systems. How prone are we on Nantucket to these drought conditions? While the Northeast is generally considered a moist region, droughts, including flash droughts, are not uncommon. Massachusetts actively manages drought conditions through a drought management plan and monitors conditions using various indices. As recently as November 24, most Massachusetts was under a Level 3 critical drought designation, but the Cape and Islands are exempt from that distinction. At that time, the drought was driven by unprecedented low rainfall over several months, which led to dried stream beds, critically low groundwater levels, and environmental challenges that affect ecosystems, water supplies, and fire safety. Nantucket was exempt at that time, but as evidenced by our recent designation, we are not immune. Low rainfall is one of the primary initial causes of drought. To help us understand precipitation patterns on Nantucket and how they fit into the bigger regional and national picture, the Linda Loring Nature Foundation became a precipitation center for the island, monitoring multiple aspects of our precipitation with different and complementary projects. Since May of 2014, we've been taking daily precipitation measurements as part of the community collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. This community science network was started by the Colorado Climate Center at Colorado State University in 1998. The strength of this data set lies with hundreds of monitors collecting data within the same exact rain gauge using the same set of standard protocols in all 50 states. The data collected are then publicly available for anyone to use via their interactive website. Aside from curious citizens, the data are used by the National Weather Service and other meteorologists, hydrologists, emergency managers, and insurance adjusters, and the USDA, among others. Many of us had the experience of talking to someone in Nantucket where it's raining and being in town where the streets are still dry. The more rain stations, the better. With this program, anyone can establish a gauge. There are currently 10 stations. There are currently 10 stations on the island, though not all regularly record precipitation. You can check out summary info for the LLNF station here, dex.corahs.org/stations/MA-NT-1. LLNF also collects daily precipitation data for the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, as part of their Cooperative Weather Observer, COOP, program. LLNF became an official climate site in 2017 when we became a COOP station. Through the COOP program, more than 10,000 volunteers take daily weather observations at national parks, seashores, mountaintops, and farms, as well as in urban and suburban areas. Of course, drought is more than just lack of rainfall, and what does it mean to recharge our public water supply? Nantucket's sole source aquifer is where we get all our fresh water, both the public water system and private wells. This glacial aquifer relies on rainfall filtering through the island's sandy soil. The aquifer is abundant but not unlimited. Private wells draw from the aquifer, but so does the Wannacomet Water Company, Nantucket's public water provider, which draws on the aquifer from 5 wells. According to the town's website, 2 wells pump groundwater from a shallow aquifer at about 75 feet, while the remaining 3 wells pump groundwater from a deeper aquifer at about 150 feet. The Syconsett Water Department, also part of the public water supply, serves a small portion on the eastern end of the island, drawing from 2 wells in that area. Level 1 drought conditions alone wouldn't be a huge cause for alarm regarding the aquifer. With the water pump issues being exacerbated by the drought conditions, we all need to work together to conserve our precious resources. There are, of course, mandatory restrictions prohibiting non-essential water use. There are recommendations for water conservation, like delaying laundry and dishwasher loads or taking shorter showers. At the time of this writing, the pump has been fixed, but we know this problem isn't going away anytime soon. Droughts have always been a part of natural climate cycles. However, human-driven climate change exacerbates their severity. Rising temperatures increase evaporative demand, which means the atmosphere pulls more moisture from water bodies, soil, and plants. This phenomenon transforms moderate droughts into severe ones. Recent studies have shown that warming trends make droughts last longer, cover larger areas, and cause more significant environmental harm. So we should expect more drought conditions and the accompanying water restrictions in the future. The COOP program is the nation's largest and oldest weather network. It was established in 1891 to formalize the collection of meteorological observations and record climate conditions in the United States. This was Yesterday's Island, Today's Nantucket for June 26th to July 2nd. Thank you.